Jamie Dangers is here. She's the legislative director at the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America organization. Jamie, how are you today?
Doing well, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. The Freedom of Access to Clinics Entrances Act. Back in 1994, Clinton, the FACE Act, if people will see it written somewhere, the FACE Act. What did these 9 people do, and how much prison time are they facing?
Yeah, these peaceful protesters had identified that there is a clinic here in Washington, D.C. that does late-term abortions, and they wanted to go and give the women in those clinics a different option, tell them that there was another way. And so some of them went in to try to block entrances to the clinic, and that is something that is considered illegal under the FACE Act. And so 7 of these 9 individuals have been sentenced so far. One will get her sentencing today. And Lauren Handy, who was the one leading this effort, she has received the harshest sentence so far, even though she has been incarcerated since August of this past year. She was given 57 months under the FACE Act.
Hold on, I'm doing some math. 5 years.
Almost 5 years, that's right.
5 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
5 years in prison. Okay, let's be real, though. What did they do? How violent, how blocking of the entrance were these people doing?
Well, I wasn't there, but I know they said they used, some of them changed themselves to the entrances and tried to get between women who were trying to come in and the employees of the clinic. Now, what people need to realize is these activists saw what they were doing as life-saving action. This clinic is notorious for treating women very badly, for having botched abortions, and there is even evidence that there could be federal crimes being committed there, including partial birth abortion and born alive. So these people went in trying to save the unborn from those crimes.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at this video right now. So, because there was another group in Tennessee that was standing in the hallway of an abortion clinic, and they were singing hymns. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, I'm just looking at some video here, that this group in Tennessee was a little more, we're just standing here. Mm-hmm. Like, what's, like, people can walk through, like, we're just standing here singing. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do that, and they still got hit with the FACE Act too. These people seem a little more like, oh, we're blocking the door and chaining ourselves. Mm-hmm. Surely they recognized that was against the law, and so how are they taking these consequences? Do they find this unjust, or are they just like, you know what, that's the deal, and we that's civil disobedience. We broke what we believe is an unjust law, and now we face the consequences. How are they handling it?
Yeah, I think that's right. They understood the consequences. They knew they could be charged under the FACE Act. So going in, they knew what the law was, but they just decided that their mission was important. And we also believe that the FACE Act has been twisted. It has been used against pro-lifers far greater than it has ever been used against those who have caused vandalism at pro-life pregnancy centers or churches, specifically Catholic churches. Mm. It's a law that was supposed to be even-handed, protecting people at pro-life facilities and places of worship and at abortion clinics. And yet the way that it has been used is so uneven, so unjust, that those who are actually trying to protect the unborn are punished in a way more severe way and way more often than those who are doing actual violence at the other places.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So just so you know, Jane, I'm like super pro-life. I'm as pro-life as I come, but I want to just make sure I am being as fair as possible with this. I don't know the genesis of the FACE Act. Like, do you know what happened back in 1994 that caused this act to be passed? Me not knowing, it seems like these people is kind of what they were talking about, not those people in Tennessee I was speaking of, or some of these other people who have worked on, been on the sidewalks, like that's not the intent of the FACE Act. But it seems like the FACE Act was actually like, it was like for exactly what these people were doing. Is that fair, do you think? Is that accurate?
Well, I think there was also some more actual violence a few decades ago, where there were really terrible instances of one or two abortion doctors being actually targeted themselves. And that, that is a terrible thing. No matter what your views are, no one should ever be attacked like that. So there were definitely things happening that should not have happened. And this law was put in place to try to just say, you know what, if you believe in abortion, if you believe in life, you should be safe in those spaces. And so originally it was created, like I said, to be even-handed. It's just unfortunate we haven't really seen it play out that way.
Yes, and more for, you're right, I'm looking at some examples here, more for to prevent violence.
Correct.
Not so much just preventing access to. Okay, do you think, does Susan B. Anthony Fund think that the prison sentences are too harsh? What's the official stance of Susan B. Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, we understand that the FACE Act is law. We think it is being unfairly applied. These individuals, there's one in particular where Heather is one who's getting her sentence today, and she has experienced significant health issues already as she's been held over the last few months. She's 59 years old, and we are very concerned that these people, like Heather, are being treated as violent criminals when, in fact, they did engage in civil disobedience, yes, and they recognized that. But they're being treated as if they have actually done violent crimes, which they have not. And if you look at the kinds of crimes they were trying to protect against, we really wish the Department of Justice would use its time to look into those things, to look into whether federal crimes have been committed at this late-term abortion facility. And instead, they are treating these people who, yes, have engaged in civil disobedience as if they are violent criminals.
That's right. What's also interesting about the use of the FACE Act is a lot of these cases locally, no charges pressed at all in any way for any actions or behavior, maybe a little misdemeanor ticket or something. Right. But then the feds come in, and that's where they get slammed on these federal crimes years later. It's like, what the heck are you guys doing? Tell us a little more about Lauren Handy. Specifically, I think people may recognize her from when she found, I don't know what there's a better word, aborted fetuses in a D.C. abortion center. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so Lauren works with the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising group. And at one point she...
And real quick about, and I don't know how important this is, but just because you said the word progressive, I don't think Lauren and I agree politically on things, right? I don't know. That doesn't matter here. Right. But she's not super conservative Christian. Is she even a Christian?
I believe she's a Catholic, yes. But this group does... They are in a unique space in the pro-life movement, and they definitely speak to people that conservatives can't often speak to.
Yes. Yes. Well said. Okay, sorry, as you were.
Yeah, so Lauren has worked with this group, and she and her colleague Teresa Bukovinak were outside the Washington Surgery Clinic in March 2 years ago, and this is just 5 blocks from the White House. This clinic advertises that they do late-term abortion in Washington, D.C., where, frankly, there are no limits on abortion in the District of Columbia. And they saw these boxes of human waste and asked the driver who was about to take the waste out to where it would be disposed of. They asked if the driver knew what was in those boxes. He didn't. He just knew he was at a clinic. And they said, we think that there are aborted babies in there. And the driver was horrified. So Lauren and Teresa actually took one of the boxes And with lawyers, with clergy, they opened the box and found 115 unborn children's remains in that box. 110 of them were very early gestation. 5 of them were past the point of viability. And these 5 have become known as the DC-5. And you'll read in the news, it's very unfair, people saying Lauren Handy was found with fetuses in her house. That is completely untrue. What Lauren did after they discovered this is they called the police, told them what they had with their lawyers present, and asked the police to come and take these as evidence and to investigate this abortion clinic. Unfortunately, that is when the FBI came and ignored the fact that Lauren had already called the police to come and get these, and this horrible headline went out that she was hoarding fetuses or something terrible. In fact, she was trying to get the Department of Justice and the city of D.C., the District of Columbia, to investigate what looks like could be partial birth abortions or cases in which these viable babies were born alive and left to die.